me.
Okay.
Has she heard things from him or observed him in the last year? Do you know?
I would just like to explain how evil of a person he is. I feel like no one
I
has
did,
really just came right out and said how evil he is.
hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. Uh, Go ahead and sit in front of the camera. All right. I'm going to put you under oath and ask you a few questions and determine whether or not I can listen to what you have to say. Would you raise your right hand, please? You do swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
You can put your hand down. What's your full name?
Full name Gabrielle Spar, last name spelled Spahr.
Is Mr. Cook, are you related directly to Mr. Cook?
No, but I have been around him for the last 16 years as I'm the girl's sister.
All right. You're Jennifer Spar's daughter.
Yes.
And how old are you?
I am 29.
When is the last time you lived at home with your mother?
5 years ago.
Since 5 years ago, have you had any direct interaction with Mr. Cook?
Just here and there, maybe seeing him when he's came to pick up the girls, but nothing, no like events or like anything that he's been at that I've been at as well.
So from what you said before I put you under oath, it sounds like you want to talk about his character.
Yes.
Let me, so I know what you know about his character is based, at least in terms of firsthand information, about things that happened 5 years or more ago, correct?
In person, but I've been there with the girls nonstop. I try and come into Jackson once a month at least just to be there. They'll come and see me. I have a 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment in Chicago that they come and see me at every now and then.
All right. So
I see the stress.
Let me ask, okay? So more than 5 years ago, you had a lot more interaction with Mr. Cook than you've had recently. Is that fair to state?
Yeah, unfortunately, yes.
And during that time period, I didn't ask you when it began, but it ended 5 years ago. You had a fair amount of contact with Mr. Cook.
Yes, yeah.
And as a result of that ongoing contact, you formed some opinion about his character.
Yes.
And in the occasions that you've seen him since then, have you seen things that confirm to you that the opinion you formed about his character 5 years ago continues to the present?
Your Honor, I feel like it's getting worse. I mean, I know it's getting worse, and it's getting to the point where these girls need somebody to protect them. I don't know what needs to happen, but you are their last chance. Like, they are not going to end up another statistic. You need to get it through whoever's head.
All right, let me stop you. Let me stop you. I need to know what, based upon the interactions you had with him 5 years ago and things that you've seen more recently, what is your opinion of his character?
That he is still an evil person, a very evil person, and he's trying to take these girls. I don't know what he's trying to do to them, but he is evil. Like, the way that you treat these girls, nobody should ever have to be treated like that, much less their father. He's just an evil person, and they need to be protected. They don't have anybody. They're begging us to tell you.
All right, let me stop you. I'm going to hear from both of the girls, so I don't need to hear you tell me what the girls want, because the will tell me what they want. What I'm simply trying to get at, now you said based on past interactions confirmed by more recent occasions that you believe he's an evil person. I need to know what you mean by that.
Just the way that he speaks to the girls and like the conniving things that he does to them. He manipulates them. He's just evil. The way that he speaks to my mom about them, it's not for the good of them, it's for himself.
When you say evil, do you mean he's mean-spirited?
Yes, very much so. And on like a whole nother level, something you've never seen before. It's scary.
Has he in the past, has he ever acted that way towards you?
Yes, me and my brother, plenty of times. He's gotten physical with my brother before. He's thrown things at me before. He's not a good person, and it's terrible that these girls had to even be involved in anything like this. But this is the situation that we're in now, and now our job is to
I understand your concern, and I understand your opinion of Mr. Cook and how you arrived at that opinion.
Like, who do we
it's not your job to plead with the court as to what I'm going to do. It's your job to testify. You've done that. Thank you. Mr. Cook.
Yes, Your Honor.
Are there any questions that you would like me to ask this witness?
No questions. I knew what she'd say.
All right, thank you.
Of course you do.
Okay. Hold on, we're done. Thank you. Okay, Ms. Spar, who's your next witness?
Well, I subpoenaed his mom and I notified her ahead of time, told her she was subpoenaed. I sent her a reminder this morning, and she's basically saying that she never knew about it. She talks to Carl every single day, multiple times a day. She knew she was supposed to testify this morning. She knew she was subpoenaed, and she chose to not show up. And she also chose to say she didn't know about it. And that is his key witness. Why?
Hold on.
So I mean that's.
I can take action when a witness refuses to obey a subpoena, but I can only do that if I have proof that the subpoena was served upon her. There's a return of service with the subpoenas that I issued at your request, but none of those returns have been filed with the court. So I don't have any proof in front of me that she was properly served with a subpoena. In any event, she's not here, so obviously I won't be able to hear from her. Are there witnesses who are here that you want me to hear from?
The only other one that's here is Chloe, and to be honest, Your Honor, I think she may be a little bit too young, but if you'd like me to bring her here, you can ask her some questions if you'd like.
I don't normally like to put children. Ma'am, you need to let me finish. I don't normally like to put younger children on the witness stand to put them in the middle of a fight between their parents. It's not healthy for them.
Yeah,
I do, and on certain occasions, request that. But let me ask. It's clear you would prefer not to put her in this position. Let me ask Mr. Cook. Mr. Cook, would you like me to question Chloe?
No, Your Honor, I would not like to put her through that, and anything that she would have said would be scripted and gone over. So it serves no purpose.
All right, fair enough. So I won't be hearing from Chloe. So it looks like my last witness, Ms. Spar, is going to be you. Okay?
Yes.
All right.
So, Your Honor,
would you hold on. I'm not going to be able to mute you,
okay.
but I'm going to tell you, I want you to listen to my questions When I'm done asking the question, I want you to answer that question. Just that question. I will give you a chance to add other things, but for now, it's going to be question and answer. I ask the question, you answer the question, and when you're done answering the question that I ask, you're going to stop talking until I ask you another question. Got it?
Yes.
All right. Raise your right hand, please. You do swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
State your full name. You don't need to spell it.
My name is Jennifer Melissa Spar.
Okay. Ms. Spar, the main thing I want to hear about is what happened on September 25th, from start to finish, from the time that Mr. Cook arrived until he left. I want you to tell me what you observed. I don't want you to tell me what anyone said except Mr. Cook. You can tell me what he said, but you can't tell me what anyone else said. Okay? All right, go ahead.
So we had court on the 24th, the day before. And when I came home from court, I had to tell the girls what happened because I had to prepare them for going with their dad. The months prior to that, he was acting very aggressive and intimidating. And so they had seen a lot over that 3-month period of time before that. The first 3 months were okay. So when he got to the house... Stop. I just want to make sure I understand clearly. So the first 3 months of not being able to have direct visits when he was coming to talk to Chloe on the porch, yes, that went pretty well. Yes, because
but then, okay, I don't need a because, but then the second half, the next 3 months leading up to the September date, you observed him being that they didn't go well. Tell me what you observed then.
Well, after the warrant was dropped, he came over. I mean, it was like almost the day after they dropped the warrant. And he started trying to start arguments with me, which is what he likes to do a lot.
Okay, stop. What warrant are you talking about?
He was issued a warrant because when we went to court in November, he said he wasn't going to pay child support anymore, and he got.
I see. Stop. What you're talking about was a bench warrant that was issued for related to child support enforcement.
Yes.
Thank you. That's all I need to know.
Okay.
So, in any event, regardless of why his behavior changed, according to your observations, how did his behavior change?
Well, he started showing up and picking fights with me. So it came to the point where I just didn't even go to the window. He would come to the front porch. Sometimes he would knock on the door or the window, and sometimes he would just shout Chloe's name super loud. And if we were in the backyard swimming, I would have to pull Chloe out of the pool and bring her inside to talk to him. But I would leave because I didn't want him to ask questions to me because his behavior changes. So he started getting aggressive with me, and I chose to just stay out of the room. But I would listen to what they would talk about, and he started drilling Chloe on the whole COVID, that it's not real, and that your mom's filling your head with a bunch of lies, that nobody dies from it, and that kids don't get it, and that the coronavirus is just political, and that President Trump is the greatest president in the world, and that he would never lie to us. And he would just be filling her head full of these political things. And she's 8. She doesn't, she
all right. So let's talk about. So the reason you were not allowing your daughters to go on every other weekend with their father is because of your fear over COVID?
He never even asked to take them. He didn't even ask to take them until August. It wasn't until, I believe, the third week in August is when he wanted to take them. And it's because we've been super safe.
Well, wait a minute. I just want to make sure this is clear. It sounds like, from what you already told me, that when Mr. Cook was showing up on the porch, he was expressing disagreement with whether these precautions were necessary.
Yes.
Is that fair?
No, I mean, not that. He just wanted, it wasn't that he wanted to take them. He didn't even ask to take them at all. He would just show up sometimes a couple times a day and want to argue. And a lot of times it would be about COVID, but most of the time it was just other things. It was things from the past that he would bring up.
All right. So what you're saying is during this period up until August, he was not insisting on getting his visits.
In fact, he never came on the weekends. He only came like Monday through Thursday. He would never come on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. We didn't even see him.
Okay. So, but beginning in August, you said he started requesting actual visits with the girls.
Yes, because
you hold on. But you refused those visits, correct?
Oh, I didn't refuse those visits. I sent him an email and I said to him that there was, there was not really anything that I could do, but he hadn't been wearing a mask and he hadn't been social distancing, and it was in his family. His family actually had the coronavirus, and he was telling me and Chloe and Isabel that he was
How do you know his family had the coronavirus?
He mentioned to me that somebody in his family had the coronavirus. And
all right, you know it because he told you that.
Yeah. Yes.
How do you know that he wasn't himself being careful?
Because he would tell me that he doesn't wear a mask and that a mask is just political and a mask doesn't do any good. And knowing who he is, he's not good with hygiene. I've never seen him wash his hands when he leaves the bathroom.
All right.
His hands before.
All right. I've got the background. I've got the background. Now what I want to hear about is what you observed or what you heard Mr. Cook say on the 25th of September.
Okay, so when he came on the 25th, I was inside and I was talking to Chloe and I was telling her she was crying and she didn't want to go, and she kept saying to me, "Mommy, please don't make me go. Please don't make me go." She became very fearful of him because there was one time he scooped her up and went running down the street with her, and he took her around the corner and he set her down in the grass and he told her to take her mask off. And she told him no. And she said that she was—
Wait a minute. I told you I only want to hear what you observed and what you heard Mr. Cook say. I don't want to hear what anybody else had to say. That's considered hearsay. It's not admissible in a court of law. What Mr. Cook says is admissible because it's considered an admission by the other party. So you can tell me what he said, and you can tell me what you saw on the 25th. So you've told me that Chloe was fearful of going with her father. I got that. What did you observe?
I told Chloe that Isabel was going to stay with her and that she didn't have to be scared, that Isabel would try to be— well, I didn't say you didn't have to be scared. I just said Isabel would be with you. And I pretty much was trying to drag her out of the house and she was refusing to go, but she knows when she gets outside, she has to instantly stop acting like that because otherwise he's going to later punish her for it.
All right, hold on. I don't want to hear what you think Chloe is thinking. You're not a mind reader. That's inadmissible testimony. Again,
Okay.
don't tell me those things. I only want to hear what you observed with your own two eyes,
Okay.
or what you heard Mr. Cook say. Not what anyone else said, not what anyone else was thinking. Okay?
So we got out onto the porch, and Isabel was walking Chloe to the car and putting Chloe in the car, and I had asked his mom and him, were they going to be wearing a mask inside of the car? And he started screaming at me and telling me, no, we're not going to be wearing any masks. We don't want to get sick from wearing a mask. And no, the kids aren't going to be wearing a mask. And he was just going, and I just left it at that. And his mom grabbed her mask and put her mask on. And I said, okay, thank you, Lois. And he kept yelling at me. And so I walked where he couldn't see me. And then he started yelling at the kids before the car even, I mean, it was like driving down the street before the car almost pulled away. He started yelling into the back seat. And I didn't know at the time if he was yelling at the girls or if he was yelling at his mom. So
So let me stop you. You heard him yelling, but you didn't really hear what he was saying.
Couldn't really hear what he was saying, just screaming, like, and
Okay.
then he went down the street. They went down the street to turn around, and he was screaming in the neighbor's driveway. And then they backed the car out, and you could hear him all the way down to the stop sign. And I just broke into tears because I was so scared. I didn't know what was going to happen. And I just felt so bad for them because they've been put in this situation so many times. And when is somebody going to recognize the danger? And so about maybe not quite an hour later, I got a message. I had my mom stay here because we only have one phone with me. So I gave that phone to Isabel to take with her. So I didn't have a phone. So my mom stayed here with me for a while and just kind of tried to calm me down. And then she got a message on her phone because that Isabel was instructed to text my mom or call my mom if she needed anything. And she said that the text message said that they were going to be coming back home. And I was confused. I didn't really know what was going on. And so I mentioned, you're on your way here. And she mentioned that first of all, she said, well, we're going to go to Grammy's for an hour and then we're going to come home. But they didn't. They just came right back here. And when they got here, they were both just hysterical. They just came running to me and grabbed a hold of me and started telling me what happened. And so I walked out to the car, and his mom was out there, and she was crying, and she threw her hands up into the air, and she said, I'm so sorry they had to go through that. And she said, I have no control over him. I have no control over what he does. And I grabbed her arm and I said, Lois, I said, please help us protect these kids. Please tell them what you have seen. And so Isabel, she ended up leaving, and we called the police. And when the police got here, he talked to the girls, but he said he couldn't fill out a report because Carl didn't actually punch Isabel. He said if he would have punched her, then they would have been able to file a report. But he said the only thing he could do was listen to the girls. And so I called the police officer and I asked him, I left messages with him, could you please testify for us? Could we please subpoena you so that you can testify as to what the girls said to you? And they were just distraught. They were just bawling their eyes out. They were so scared. And Isabel kept saying, I am never going with him again. I am never going with him again. My sister is never going with him again. I promise.
All right, let me stop you. Let me stop you. I already heard from Isabel. I don't need to have you tell me what Isabel was thinking or doing. I've got that from her. So, since the 25th, have you had any further interaction with Mr. Cook?
He came the next weekend on that Friday, and I had my mom come over, and he, I knew he was going to show up because his main goal is to get me to go to jail. That's all he wants out of this, is to punish me. He has always hated me and wanted to.
All right. The question was, did you have any more interaction?
Yeah, he showed up, and so I told Isabel and Chloe, I said, I have to send you guys. There isn't anything I can do, but you guys make the decision for yourself, because I can't tell you guys not to go. The judge has ordered you guys to go. And in my head, I'm thinking to myself, I hope to goodness he doesn't show up. But I knew he was going to, and he showed up, and he acted like nothing was wrong. He had some random woman with him. She had her head all covered up with a sweatshirt. She had big glasses on and a mask over her face. So we didn't have any idea who she was. We'd never seen that car before or her. So obviously the girls are like, I don't have a clue who this is. And he just started, Isabel went down there. She took a recording of what was said between them. And he was just like, she was saying that no loving parent would ever.
Hold on. You're telling me what other people are saying.
I heard it.
It doesn't matter if you heard it.
But anyways,
what I'm telling you is you can't tell me what other people said except Mr. Cook. Did you hear Mr. Cook say anything?
Yes, I did.
What did he say?
He kept saying to her, what do you got to say, little girl? Come on, let's hear what you got to say. And then when she would start talking, he would interrupt her, and he would say something that was totally a lie. Like, oh, you were daddy's little girl. And she was looking like, you're saying she's, this woman's here. And he would talk over her, and he would say things to her that were totally off the wall. She wouldn't even know how to answer them because it was a total lie.
All right. So in any event, on that day, both of your girls refused to go with their father, right?
Yes, he had a
Did he come back the next weekend?
That first day that he showed up, he brought a brand new doll for Chloe in a box, and he held the doll up and he said, Chloe, come and get your doll. Come and get your doll. And she was just on the front porch shaking her head like, I am not going down there. And I said, do you want to go down there? And she said, no. She said, I am not going down there.
All right. You answered the question. So did he come the next weekend?
Next weekend.
Do you remember what happened the next weekend?
The next weekend, the same thing happened. Isabel went down there to talk, and Chloe went outside and was at the front porch, and she again said to her dad, that they were scared of him, that they did not want to go, and that he needed to get, help, and that there was an issue, that no loving parent would treat her, and he did the same thing again, talking over her.
All right, let me stop you then. So how many more times did he show up for his visits? Do you remember?
He showed up 4 more times, and on the third time he showed up, he had whoever was with him drive the car down the street, and they pulled into it's an old man that lives down there. And I videotaped it. You could hear him yelling at the old man at the top of his lungs. I have a video. And he was talking to the older guy. The older guy was totally lost. He has no idea who's in his driveway. He's seen Carl, but never talked to Carl. And he stayed down there for almost 20 minutes. And you could tell.
Did he come to the house?
Yes, that was after he left my house.
And then what happened? Same thing. Isabel went to talk to him.
Yes.
Isabel and Chloe refused to go.
Yes, but the car that was bringing him on Fridays, we seen that car come down our street a couple of times before he even started coming to get them. And we seen it a few times after that too. And I have a video that dates the time.
I don't, that's fine. So he came one more time on a Saturday for his visit. Same sorts of Friday, same thing. Isabel went to speak to him. Chloe and Isabel both refused to go.
Yes.
Anything different happened on that last time that he came?
They pulled into the driveway instead of out front.
Other than that?
I can't think of anything different.
All right. So Ms. Spar, I'm going to see if Mr. Cook has any questions he wants me to ask you before we hear from him. Okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
Miss, do you have any questions you'd like me to ask Ms. Spar?
Just one question, Your Honor. I would like you to ask her, what is the one name that she calls me every single time that I've ever called there or stopped there and talked to her? What is the name that she calls me?
What's your answer, ma'am?
I don't know what he's referring to.
What is the name? You talk to somebody and you say, hello, what?
Chachi?
How about daddy? She calls me daddy every single time I talk to her. I tell her not to call me daddy.
Hold on.
Chloe, daddy.
Ms. Spar, do you call him daddy?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and you know that he doesn't want you to call him that.
Yes.
What am I supposed to say? Chloe, Carl's here?
Your father?
Okay.
Well, wait a minute. Hold on a minute. So when you say daddy, you're referring to him
as
Chloe.
Yes.
You're not calling him daddy. You're saying to Chloe, daddy is here.
Yeah.
No, she says, hi, daddy.
Hold on. You're going to get a chance to testify very shortly, sir.
Yes.
Did you have any more questions for her?
No, that's about it.
Okay, so I need to take a short break. I'm going to keep this meeting room open, but I'm going to mute all of your microphones because I don't want you talking to each other while we're on a break, okay?
Okay.
I assume that's Chloe. All right, I'll be back in just a few minutes. Hello, Chloe. Okay, I believe we're done with all of Ms. Spar's testimony and her witnesses. So now, Mr. Cook, it's going to be your turn to testify. Ms. Spar, the same rules apply to you that apply to Mr. Cook. I don't want you speaking out. I will give you a chance to pose questions when he's done. I will also give you the chance, if he says something that's within the knowledge of one of the witnesses you've already called, to recall them to address whatever it is. But again, write it down so you remember to ask it. Don't speak up. Don't interrupt. I'm going to keep you muted, frankly, because I have doubts about your ability to stay quiet. But you'll be able to hear everything. So, Mr. Cook, I'm going to put you under oath now. You raise your right hand, please. You do swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
And state your full name for the record.
Carl Leon Cook.
You can put your hand down now. Okay, Mr. Cook, I know there's a lot you want to address. I want to ask some specific questions, the things I want to know the answer to, and I will give you a chance to tell me whatever it is you want to tell me to address any of the things that were said earlier, okay?
Understood.
So, there's been a lot of testimony about what happened on September 25th at that occasion, and I'll give you a chance to tell me from your perspective what happened. Before that, I want to ask about these other visits to the porch for the several months leading up to that. Ms. Spar said that these visits occurred not on your normal parenting time, but usually during the week and were typically unannounced. You would show up at the home and ask to speak to Chloe. Is that accurate?
Correct.
And Chloe would normally come to the door and talk to you?
She wouldn't come to the door. She would come to the window. I had to talk to her through the porch window with the window closed where I could barely hear her most of the time. And then finally, after numerous visits, I finally got her to at least open the window a crack so I could at least hear and understand what Chloe's saying.
I see.
Yeah.
Let me get the picture here. So the setting is there's a front porch on the front of Ms. Spar's house that's enclosed with windows.
Correct.
So you would stand on the ground and speak through the window to Chloe?
I'd stand on the porch there and speak to her through the window, yes.
So would she be on the porch or would she be in the house?
She'd be in the house.
I see. So the porch itself wasn't enclosed with windows. It's an open porch?
Correct.
I see. You would go to the door to let them know you were there, or to the window, or
I'd knock on the door and then I'd tap on the window as well.
Okay, and normally on these occasions, Chloe would come to talk to you?
Correct. And if Chloe didn't come up after a few knocks, then I would yell into the backyard because, like she stated, that they do have a pool, so they would be back there, and I'd yell so they could hear me.
All right. And how often did you show up on the porch to talk to Chloe?
I don't know an exact number, but I would try and show up once a week after a certain point of, I don't know, it was a month of COVID or what it was, but I just started coming up and just showing up randomly.
All right. And normally there wasn't an incident. Eventually she would come to the window and you'd get a chance to talk to her even though you couldn't hear her very well.
Correct.
All right. Did Chloe always seem eager to see you?
Oh yeah, she's always happy as can be, but at the same time sad that she couldn't see me, and I could see it in her face, and she would always put her hand on the window and wanting me to put my hand on the window. And she would put her cheek on the window and she'd want me to rub the glass with my one finger, and like I was rubbing her face. And she would always do that before I left and when I got there. And I'd bring her presents. I had to leave them on the porch. She couldn't touch anything or open anything because they had to be disinfected for COVID. And so go ahead.
Did you see Isabel on any of these visits?
No, I didn't. One time she went walking past after I just bought her, I don't know, I thought it was a $50 gift certificate, but it might have been only a $25. But regardless, I got her a gift certificate. She never once said thank you. She never once said, hi, Daddy, love you, Daddy, nothing. She always, like I said, I might have seen her one time and she just walked past and she never said anything to me, nothing.
So do your parenting time complaints include complaints that you've not been allowed to see Isabel?
Well, it just encompasses seeing the girls in general, but I'm at a point where I don't even want Isabel to come over. I mean, the way her mom has manipulated her and twisted her around. She stayed away for like that 2 years there prior, and during that time she got more and more and more distant, where she just basically hated me. That's why how Isabel stated in the car when we had the argument and we were at my house before they left. I said, so what has Daddy done? Why is Daddy so bad? And her first thing she says is something like, well, we don't know what you're going to do. And that's why I said, what I'm going to do? What are you talking about? I said, your mom has you so screwed up. She's got you hating me for no reason. Something to that, I'm paraphrasing, but something to that nature. And I was just dumbfounded. I'm like, don't know what I'm going to do. I don't even spank the girls. The girls are very well behaved. That's one thing I will give Jen credit for. They're very well behaved and well mannered. Other than that, they're completely manipulated and twisted into their faith, which is a Jehovah's Witness. And basically anybody who's not a Jehovah's Witness, they can lie to you. They can lie to me. As long as it's in their name to protect themselves from the world, because the world is all evil. Everything in the world's bad. That's why I'm so bad. And so they're completely manipulated. So the longer they're just with her, the worse and worse things get. Because it's just her talking bad about me, talking down about me. And there's just nothing positive that comes from that situation, keeping me away. I mean, why would you want to keep me away? I haven't done nothing. I don't even spank them. Literally, I don't do nothing. I don't yell because they're very well behaved. And the only thing I ever even have to say is literally, what did I say to you? That's all that's all I say. I don't have to yell at them. I don't know how Isabel can say she's so stressed in those situations she didn't like coming over. That doesn't even make sense. First thing I do, as soon as I pick them up, I go right to like KFC or get pizza. First thing I do every single time, get them some kind of good food they're gonna like, and get movies. Usually Friday is like a movie night. We get movies, pizza, or movie, and KFC. I try to do everything I can do to make them happy. They both have their own rooms, their own beds, their own TVs. They have everything they want here, trampoline, swings. Oh, that's another thing. I want to make sure you tell Jen that I want my four-wheeler back because she said she has some friend that's going to fix it for cheap or for free. She's had it over a year. Well, it's not been fixed. I want the four-wheeler back. She's obviously not going to get it fixed. So I'll get it fixed. There's room in my backyard for Chloe to ride it. I want that back. She said she was going to get it fixed. She never did. So that's kind of went off on a tangent there, but
yes, you did. So let me bring you back to what I want to hear about. Well, one of the things you said was you believe that their mother is filling their heads with lies about you. But
correct.
I am talking down about you. But I heard Isabel testify to you running her mother down to her.
I said her mom is the biggest liar that I've ever met in my life. That's what I said. I said she lies more than anybody I've ever known in my life. That's what I've said to her.
And you also, and she also testified that you told her that you're just like your mother.
Yeah, she is just like her mother, just like she's going to her little crying thing for the show, just like her other daughter going to the crying thing for the show. It's all melodramatic play for the video. It's all, I'm crying. Oh, look how upset. It's not real. They all did it. They all three did it. I got throwing a crying thing at the end. It's scripted. They go over this stuff. They know what they're going to say.
Hold on a minute. Ms. Farr, would you stop?
And for the record, also,
control yourself,
to back that up, Your Honor, she had Child Protective Services come out to me again for the second time for no reason. And
when?
Well, she just had them come out here. They came and talked to me just prior to talking to you. Like a week ago, 2 weeks ago, something like that.
Did they say why they were there?
Because Jen called them.
Well, I know they didn't tell you that because they do not disclose who called them. I asked you, did they tell you why they were there?
because Jen filed a paper saying the kids were in danger physically and mentally.
But the children weren't there, were they?
Weren't where?
When with you?
No, they weren't with me.
So whoever filed this complaint, I know CPS didn't tell you who it was. That you probably surmise that's who it was. But I know they didn't tell you because they don't. They don't disclose who the reporter is ever.
Well, I know she said that.
Hold on. I want to know what they asked you about.
They asked me questions like, do I ever hit the kids? Are the kids ever in danger? Do I keep guns at my house? Just random questions about the kids in my house, basically. And they said it was filed because of, I thought she said because she said it, but regardless, it was filed because of physical and mental abuse.
Okay. So let's move to this September 25th from start to finish. Yeah.
And the caseworker also said this is an open and shut case. As far as she's concerned, that matter is closed because there is no evidence of anything that was brought up.
That doesn't surprise me. If the children weren't with you when these complaints were made and you hadn't seen them for some time, that's exactly what I would expect CPS to do with that kind of a complaint. So let's move to September 25th. I want you to tell me your memory, start to finish, of your interaction with your girls that day.
Okay, well, Isabel come out, put some stuff in the car, in the back of the trunk, like she said. Then she came back with Chloe in the arms, just as her grandmother stated. They got in the car, got buckled up, and I said, how are you guys doing? Just as Isabel said. And I didn't say a whole lot. I was upset that Isabel was coming because, and then that's where my mom said when she was getting the stuff in the back of the trunk, she said, oh, well, your dad wasn't planning on you coming out or didn't know you were, because I told Jen in emails that I did not want Isabel coming out this first weekend because I didn't want her to taint the atmosphere and have it be, Isabel grumpy, angry, whatever mood she's dealing with, on top of me and Chloe just having a good time, because Chloe was loving the whole time and wanting to see me, and Isabel was standoffish, and I didn't want that attitude around that environment. So when she did get in there, I said, well, you're going to your Grammys tonight. And she just snapped and said, I am not going anywhere I'm not leaving leaving Chloe's side. Like, what are you talking about? I'm the father. You are to do what I tell you to do. You're going to stay with your grandma tonight. And then later, after going over that scenario a couple times on the way home, I said, after you stay there a night, tomorrow, I got a surprise for you guys. And I said, and I was going to take you to Indiana to Yogi Bear's campground. But now that you're not going with your grandma, and I'm sending you back home because I'm not dealing with it. I'm not listening to a disobedient daughter who's not going to listen. And I said, and I just reiterated that I'm the father. You are to listen to what I say. You do not make the rules. You do not say what goes on. I do. So, so basically, argument in the car.
All right, let me stop you.
Okay.
I got a question.
Yes,
what
sir.
Tone of voice were you using when you were telling Isabel these things?
I was in a stern voice. Now, we did have an argument where we both were yelling back and forth, which she stated she was yelling and I was yelling. Yes, we were both yelling back and forth. But
and that was the argument of, hold on. That was the argument about whether or not she was going to her grandmother's while Chloe went with you.
Correct.
Okay, go ahead.
And just basically an argument back and forth. But I didn't ball up my fist, didn't punch in no back seat or any kind of ludicrous thought like that. There was nothing like that. That is just more dramatization. Either way, that's how they're trying to make it something that is not. It's real simple. I'm the dad. If I tell my daughter to go stay with her grandma, she has to do that. She's not the boss.
So eventually, after Isabel dug her heels in and said she was not going to leave Chloe, you directed your mother to take the girls home?
Yeah, along the same scenario that Isabel told you, that went to the house first, put the stuff on the porch, got back in the car, went for a ride. Then I called my mom and said, you know what? I can't deal with her attitude. Just take them home. I'm not gonna look at her face. I did say I'm not looking at her face telling me she's not gonna do something. I'm the dad and I cannot deal with that. I said, so take them home. And then she had to come back to get their stuff off the porch, which they did. And that's when I said to Isabel, I'm like, so just for the record, so why is daddy such a bad guy? Why? And then first thing she says, we don't know what you're gonna do. Like, you don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't even spank you guys. How are you scared of me at all? When I don't have to yell at them. I don't have to spank them. They're good kids. And all I do is spoil them the whole time, whatever food they want, and just have their cousins over just about every other time. First thing, I have their cousins over about every other time, because as soon as Chloe gets in the car, the very first thing she says, what are my cousins doing? Daddy, can my cousins come over, please? That's what she lives for, is seeing her cousins. She loves them to death. And Jen hates my side. She hates my family. She hates my brother's kids. She hates everything about me and everybody else on my side. Everybody on my side is the devil, evil, bad, and her side is perfect. So that's about the gist of that.
All right, now there were a number of other things that were said by other witnesses. I don't know if you made a lot of notes, but I want to give you a chance to address whatever came out that you want me to hear about. So go ahead.
Thank you, Honor. I appreciate that. It's not a whole lot. Just, I wrote down some things, but, little different things that they said were false. This and that is irrelevant. It doesn't even matter to this case. It's just more drama they want to put in it. Something I was wanting to say, just that, their mom, and Jen's mom, and Jen, and everybody heard me yelling. They could hear to the end of the block, supposedly, but couldn't make out one word. Didn't hear one thing I said, but they heard me yelling. Okay, that's more. Trying to make it more than it is. If you hear me yelling right next to your house and into the driveway and then down the street, you would have heard one word. Not one of them said one thing I said. So that's a lie. So, it's just more stuff that's inconsistencies with what they're saying. But one thing I would like to say, this is an exact, I would say, metaphor or analogy of what Donald Trump has went through. Now, I don't want to bring up politics, but long story short, he was the one accused of doing something wrong, doing everything wrong. They impeached him on nothing. This is the exact same thing I'm going through. She's trying to keep my kids away from me for nothing. End of story.
Okay, anything else you want to tell me?
No, Your Honor. Except one thing, Your Honor. I want the whole order changed. I want to go by the friend of the court handbook the whole time. when this originally got written up, I told you that I wanted holidays in there because you asked Jen if she wanted holidays in there. She said, no, I'm a Jehovah's Witness. I don't believe in holidays. And I said, well, I do. So I think I should get them all. Instead of me getting anything written in there about holidays, nothing was put in there. So therefore, now I can't have one holiday. I don't get them for Christmas break. I don't get them ever on Thanksgiving. I don't get any holidays. I don't get the month of the summer that most parents get. I don't get nothing. All I get is her saying no. And I have no, all I can do is file parenting time complaints, which go nowhere because you never back up what you tell her. You said she's going to go to jail. She's got 8 days hanging over her head. This isn't about jail. You probably think that, and she probably thinks that, but it's not about jail. It's about me getting my time. And when she takes my time away from a holiday or a birthday, which she cannot stand holidays, birthdays, Christmas, anything. So if I want them on that time, she will do whatever she can do to keep them from me. And then what do? You just give me another day back, which does nothing for me because she ruined the holiday. The days are not equal. A holiday event where she gets to see her cousins and her aunts and uncles and relatives is not equivalent to a day, just some random day. So she is never going to learn her lesson if you don't back up what you say. You said she's going to go to jail. Well, she keeps doing it. Now she's done it like 10, 12 times, and you still have not backed up what you said. She does not care what you say. She's going to do whatever she wants. She is, and on your last order, you ordered me to stay in the car. From that point on, I have not yet stepped foot out of the car. You ordered her to stay in the house. She's not one time stayed in the house. Once again, disobeying what you say, but she gets away with it every time. I'm waiting to see. It's just like I said before in court. It's just like a child that you enable. If you keep telling a kid, don't do that, and then you don't give them any repercussions for being bad, they're gonna keep doing it. So she has no fear of you. She doesn't care what you say.
Did you talk to your mother about her testifying here today?
I talked to her this morning. She said Jen was saying I was supposed to be there. I didn't receive any paperwork. No one told me nothing. I said, if no one served you, then you don't have to be there. She probably thought I was going to serve you, and I didn't, because I'm not worried about witnesses. I haven't done nothing. I don't care. I don't need nobody saying anything.
All right. So you don't plan to ask your mother to testify today?
No, there's nothing to testify. We argued, big deal. That's what happened. She stated what happened. I stated what happened. Only discrepancy really is me balling up my fist and punching it in the back seat. That's just ludicrous. And
okay.
In this court case, she didn't even say that I punched in the back seat like she did prior, but she said I balled up my fist. Either way, I didn't do anything. So we had an argument. Parents have arguments with kids. That's how it goes.
All right. Let me see if there's any further testimony that Ms. Spar wants to introduce to address anything that you've said. So hold on. Okay, Ms. Spar, I did tell you that I would give you a chance to introduce what we call rebuttal testimony, but only to address things that Mr. Cook said, not anything else. Is there any witness you would like me to call to offer rebuttal testimony?
Well, I would like to comment on what he said, and what I did was just took voice notes on the things that he said, and Isabel would like to comment on what he said also.
All right, let me hear.